conversation on clean energy and India's growth forward. Thank you so much.
Dia is, like me, a perfect combination of beauty and brains. But it doesn't stop there. I think we share a passion for environment and for ecology. Thank you, Dia. Great to have you here. Yeah.
That was a very, I'm not going to say it. I'll wait for your first question.
Yeah.
Good morning. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Please. Yeah. So let me start by asking you, were you inspired? Goosebumps? Are you going to start something in clean energy now?
By your speech?
Yeah. Of course, by my speech.
He's asked a very interesting question. What do you have to say about what Mytrah has done? Is it inspiring? Yes. Yes, I was very, very inspired. I am very inspired because I think the idea of development that we hope to imbibe as a country that wants to progress and is exactly the kind of work that Mytrah is doing. And I think it's such a wonderful synergy of the understanding that ecology and economy are connected like the umbilical cord.
Right.
You know, one cannot do without the other. And when we talk of money and progress and growth, all of it needs to come from the understanding that it is not possible unless we find the balance with nature and give back and not take away in a way where we are damaging what we have and in turn damaging health.
Great. Great, great. Thank you so much.
I just had to prove that, you know, your introduction was honest.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Look, I'm going to ask you a favorite question, right? You're an actor. What's wrong with you? Why are you doing ecology and environment, and what's motivating you to do something like this? Yeah.
Because Vikram, I think there are 3 points to that answer. The first is that I was brought up in an environment that fostered a relationship between myself and nature, and the understanding that my entity and my life was not separate from nature, that everything that I could hope to become or be was because nature was providing me.
Right.
And the second part of that answer is that when I was in school, which is in the 1980s and through the 90s, the alarm bells for climate change had started ringing. And our school made a very conscious effort to engage with the students and help them understand that they could become change makers in the future, no matter what field they chose to be a part of. They could become actors, they could become filmmakers, they could become scientists, engineers, doctors, whatever. But that profession and that whatever path they chose in life, that mission that they chose in life could not be separate from the understanding that all well-being is connected with the environment. And the third part to that answer is that in a developing nation like India, which has the second densest population in the world, and the fact that climate change is, you know, increasing the frequency of drought, of flood, of all kinds of natural calamities, it boils my blood and it breaks my heart to see that children and women are the biggest, you know, they get impacted the most by this. And it's beyond me to understand how it cannot be intrinsic to human nature to want to solve this problem every day of our lives and do all we can to fix it. So that's why.
Excellent.
That's why I'm this crazy person sitting here
talking
to you all.
I really, really appreciate that. So, you know, whenever we talk about environment, it always conflicts somehow with infrastructure and growth. So whenever there's a port or a hydro project or highway or any infrastructure, you see a huge population going against it, whether it's because of replacement, impact on ecology or environment, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So how do you balance both? And what can the youth do to balance both?
Well, I think that the first thing that we need to understand is that environmentalists and people who are working in service of nature are not obstructionists. I think that's a very important thing for us to understand. Because that's the narrative that has kind of, flowed for a very long time. Whenever there is talk of infrastructure or development, people view those who are asking important questions as obstructionists. I think that's a very misplaced notion of well-being and growth. I think what is paramount to productive, healthy development is understanding and honoring the questions that are being asked of, whether it is industry or it's government or anybody, by people who care about the well-being of the environment. I'll give you a very small example. Recently, a wonderful policy was drafted that I think is going to make such a big difference to our forests and the survival of our forests. And that was the fact that anybody now who builds new roadways or railways or highways in the country has to build underpasses for animals to have their rite of passage.
Wow.
And I was so happy when I read that because it demonstrates the understanding that we can no longer hope to develop as a nation unless we are acutely aware that our forests feed our rivers feed us. And if we want clean air and if we want water to, do all the amazing things we need to do, and health, then we need to protect our wildlife and our forests. And infra will have to work in tandem with that understanding and not perceive environmentalism as a threat, but as a very important partner in this work.
No, absolutely agree. Even at Mytrah, we treat flora, fauna, wildlife, animals as a part of the stakeholders that we need to protect.
As we are, because we're all connected,
We're
right?
all connected.
Would you have ever imagined that you'd be sitting here with me having this conversation?
Never, yeah.
I didn't imagine it either.
I know.
But we are all connected by nature.
And we have to protect that for
And
our
we
own
need-
good.
Yes.
Yeah. So I saw a video of yours, right? That was very inspiring. I'm going to show
That
that.
I was not featuring in.
Yeah. So you made, sorry, yeah.
That
I'm
I
going to show that
directed.
to my daughter. It is really good. I think she's going to like it. So my question was, why do you think empathy and vision are important, whether it's business or life?
I think if we don't have empathy, we can't have values. And if we can't have values, we can't have sustainable development. We can't hope for social impact. We can't hope for extraordinary innovation. Because a mind and a heart that cares and understands that their own well-being is connected to the well-being of others is the entity that truly demonstrates in all their actions and choices the ability to impact positive change that goes beyond personal well-being.
Right.
And I think education system in our country, our schools, our teachers, the parenting, all of that has to find a way to nurture children and teach them empathy. Empathy needs to be taught. We assume that empathy is innate to our nature. It is. But because of the social structure that we are a part of, sometimes we forget.
Excellent.
So
Thank
we
you.
need to keep reminding ourselves.
Thank you very
that.
much. That was very, very helpful. So,
Thank you.
do you have anything?
I
you
really
wanna
want
ask?
to, wrap this up because we have very little time, and thank you for being so gracious and asking me the questions.
Absolutely, we enjoyed it.
I
Yeah.
really want to ask you a very simple question.
Sure.
When you defined your mission in life, I really want the young people here to understand what defined that mission. Why did you choose to go the clean energy way? Because a lot of people assume that the answer is evident, but it's not. There
Right.
are enough people who don't get it, and I want you to tell us why.
Okay. Thank you for asking me that question. This is something that I ask every day, existential crisis, I think, or midlife crisis, right? So I think when we started this, one of the obvious things is it's clean, or the cleanest form. So there is no pollution, there is no environmental impact, there's no life impact. It is sustainable, and it recreates on itself, and it has unlimited energy, right? Like whether sun or solar, et cetera, et cetera. But that's a business side. But when we wanted to create an organization, I think the idea was to base it on a mission rather than a vision. So we've put about 95% of our shareholding in a trust, right? And it's a charitable trust. And there are 3 areas that we focus on. One is sport and entrepreneurship. And the third, non-cricket sport, to be clear, entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship and, girl, child, and vocational education. I think these are very unique India problems that we need to solve. Entrepreneurs create jobs that are essential for India. India has the highest population of engineers that don't have jobs. So we need to follow a more Swiss approach or a German approach of vocational training so that we can get people skilled. The Skill India, the Startup India are all based on that. So I think I really believe this democratic dividend can be a dividend only if all of these basic issues are solved, right? Otherwise, it can become a huge problem. So that's the reason, that's the mission for the company. Use this as an engine to generate money to solve the larger problem that India is facing. So thank you very much.
And you are doing that, Vikram. It's such a pleasure talking to you.
Such a pleasure talking to you.
Much.
Thank you
I
so
hope
much.
you
Thanks,
enjoyed
everybody.
That. Thank you.
Thank you for that engaging conversation. I would request you to wait for a minute as our amazing crew from Vistara is going to present token of appreciation.
Yeah.
And while they enter, I really want to tell the audience, Vikram, not only does Vikram power the country, but he's also powered the event with his benevolent support.
Thank you.
And Mytrah has been a huge round of applause, everybody.
Thank you.
And Mytrah has been supportive of many of X Billion Labs initiatives. Recently, I heard that you powered hundreds of underprivileged girls into providing skills for the future, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.